Hi again. I'm back. Um, this is actually a lot easier than writing right now, and I think it's people don't want to read as much as they'd rather watch a video. Um, but recently, I had somebody ask me an interesting question, um, and the question is something that's been sort of commented on before, but not in the same way, not as respectfully. But this gentleman, he saw one of my videos, and I think he read some of my blog, which outlines a lot of my history with my condition and what's happened to me with domestic abuse and iatrogenic abuse and like pretty much every type of abuse that can happen to a person, pretty much like I've experienced. Anyway, he got to the part about where I've been abandoned, in large part because I was sick and just a big inconvenience. And he was kind of shocked that would happen. And he said he was mostly shocked because he said I was such an attractive girl, and seemed, because he doesn't know me. For all he knows, I could be like an evil, manipulative, like person. And I'm not. I mean, but like he doesn't actually know me well. He couldn't understand how, just purely based on my looks, why people would do that to me. And it's an interesting question because it brings up like there's apparently like this thing called attractiveness privilege and skinny privilege, and I don't even think that I'm that particularly attractive. I mean, especially not right now. I'm really sick. I think I'm climbing out of it. I hope so. I'm just now walking again, but for about 10 days, I was having like just constant seizures and I was throwing up, and there was a point where I couldn't really control my breathing, and I was in so much pain, all I could do was just scream. Like I couldn't, it was like the pain was bigger than me, and I don't have palliative options for my condition. It's possible I could maybe get on morphine. Most of the people with my condition often have to resort to morphine at the extreme end, which I'm at. I don't know why I'm suddenly having like so much brain inflammation and which causes the throwing up and the seizures. I wasn't having them like pre-December, but during this last December, I I endured a really large amount of like toxin, and it was a really rough time. And since then, I've been having like repeated seizures. So, and they're excruciating. I'm now starting to like fear certain, like I'm now starting to like preempt and fear them because they're they're kind of coming regularly, and I can't tell like what the triggers are, if there are any. I'm trying to get out of the cycle. And usually I'm very good at telling what's causing what and what's going on with my body, because I have so much experience living with this. And not that I don't want to live with this. Like, it's like I say, if I can utter anything during these episodes, and I kind of wish one of these episodes could be recorded. In fact, like, I think I do have one recorded, but the last thing, like, the person taking care of me is thinking when this is happening, because usually I'm like thrashing, or I'm seizing, or like I can't breathe, or I'm screaming or something. Like, the last thing they're thinking is, I need to record this. But at the same time, they can't really do anything for me because they don't have anything that can take away the inflammation and the pain. And sometimes it spreads throughout my whole body. And then I start going into shock. So yeah, we almost had to call the ambulance this last week. So I look pretty rough. But apparently to some people, I'm still attractive despite, like, also being really, really ill. Anyway, the point of this is that it's interesting that as a society, we, it's a double-edged sword, because I have had a lot of people remark on that, and it gets me thinking, like, okay, so, like, what is it that they're trying to say? Like, it's usually in the form of, like, it's such a shame. Usually they say something like, it's such a shame that you're so sick because you're such a beautiful girl. And I'm not really sure what, the connection is. So I like posted it on like a Facebook status, and I said, like, what do you just, like, without like knee-jerk reaction, like, this is a really douchey thing to say, what do you think these people are really trying to get at? And like, a couple people said that, there was a couple people who got really angry about it, and then a few people offered the response that when somebody who is perceived to be attractive to a person, like, something really bad happens to them, it causes more sympathy than if they were, like, less attractive or something. And also, especially if it's somebody that they're really attracted to, it causes like this, I guess, inconvenience factor, where it's like, gosh, if she wasn't so sick, like, maybe I could, be with them or something. Like, it sucks that you're so sick because, like, otherwise would be great. Somebody said, like, you'd be such a great waifu. Like, it was, like, kind of a joke. If you don't know the whole waifu thing is. But at the same time, like, people who talk about attractiveness privilege aren't really, and skinny privilege and everything like that, like, there's like a double-edged sword with that. Again, I'm speaking as somebody who doesn't really, I don't think I'm like that. Anyway, I don't think of myself, I make jokes that I'm vain, but, like, I'm not even close to, like, that definition. So, there is, like, I mean, people put that expectation on me, or I get commented on my appearance a lot. Like, that is the primary thing that people say, or that, like, I've been through a lot or whatever, and that sucks. But anyway, attractiveness and being thin and having a nice shape, I'm not gonna, like, stand up and show you my body, but I've got, like, classic hourglass. I wear like between a size 2 and a 4. Like I have a shape that I can walk into any store if I could walk. If I could had the energy to go into a store, I can put on almost anything, within the right size, and it looked good on me because just I have that body size and type. Like I can just do that. And they call that like skinny privilege or whatever. Like I don't know. Like I don't really care that much. But anyway, like it hasn't protected me though. I mean, it's possible I might have been murdered or dead by now without it. But I've endured so much, like, it's almost sometimes, and some people have, mostly women, like, I don't think many men have accused me of this, but, like, a lot of women, a lot of, like, older women, like, mostly middle-aged, like, motherly types, tend to accuse me or think, that, especially, like, friends, families, or whatever who want to help me, they get in the way of them helping me because they think somehow I'm manipulating them, or that I've got some sort of like mental disorder, or that I'm seeking attention. And sometimes my appearance is used against me for that specific argument. They won't say, oh, because she's attractive. They'll be like, oh, like, look at this picture she took of herself. And I don't even have... I have, like, maybe one picture that could be possibly construed as provocative. Or, like, I look all over, like, Facebook, and girls are, like, they're wearing push-up bras, like pushing their cleavage up to their, like, mouths, almost. Like, I don't have, like, pictures like that. So it's really weird when that happens, because I am intentionally trying to not be provocative. In fact, I don't really, like, I've tried that, and I'm just really bad at it. I'm really bad at being provocative. I'm really just awkward, just altogether awkward. It probably has to do with just being in isolation for so long. But yeah, just really, it's just an interesting idea that sympathy is more pronounced if the person who is suffering, or whatever it is that they are suffering from, it doesn't have to be an illness. It could be like prejudice or whatever. But if they're like admired or attractive, or something that that society as a whole, like, deems as valuable, will gain more sympathy than somebody who is, say, like, overweight and not as conventionally attractive. And it just doesn't follow, I guess. Like, yeah, the sympathy goes out, but they don't actually, you don't always actually get help. You might get help on the short term, but like, the inconvenience factor, like, comes and plays in. So I know a woman who's from, I think she's from the Ukraine or something, but she's really, really gorgeous. Like I would say model, but, like, she doesn't have the right kind of shape to be a model, but, like, I mean, like, close enough. But, I mean, like, she is just gorgeous from, like, head to toe. Like, I can't even compete on that level. And, like, I've heard about, like, what happened to her, and it's not that much different than what happened to me. And she has a different condition, but like, it just goes to show that like, no matter how beautiful you are or how attractive you are, it does not protect you. And in some cases, it can actually lead to more discrimination than if you were just kind of average looking. And I really, like, as far as I've seen, like it's a lot of the women I know that have it the worst. And in fact, we lost one last year. Actually, we lost a lot, but like, she died. She was extremely attractive, and yeah, she had been severely abused and neglected, and she was abandoned, and like, it just, I'm not saying it's because of her looks, but it's like nobody would believe her. And I've heard it many times spoken from like other women that just people don't believe them. Like they think like that they're trying to manipulate some guy, or like they think that they're like they have some sort of mental disorder where they're trying to get attention, or like they're vain, or like they're trying to like bank on their looks and their illness. It's really weird actually, and really upsetting to me when people do this, because like it makes it spreads, and it makes it so that none of us can actually get help, and like the numbers of people with this condition who are dying is like increasing. So anyway, anyway, but yeah, interesting thing to think about. I know I'm not really presenting this in a way that makes sense. I've gone through a lot this week. Again, I kind of wish that there had been a recording of one of those nights. I mean, I have someone who could describe it. I couldn't actually see it because, like, I was just in the bed the whole time. And part of it I don't remember because the pain was so bad that there were points where I blacked out, and just, the mind can only take so much pain, and it can take only so much like negative stimuli that it will block out parts of the memory. So pretty much all I remember is just lots of pain and being afraid I was going to die, like that. And I kind of remember like kind of like rolling around and like trying to explain what was going on in my body, but I couldn't. And it was this really awful feeling of absolute helplessness and inability to communicate that I was suffering. It was obvious I was suffering, but I couldn't do anything. Like, I had to be carried to the bathroom, which was humiliating, but I couldn't even perceive the humiliation at the time. I couldn't communicate that it was humiliating. I had to be helped fed a couple times, and like up until like maybe, I don't know, like 6 months ago, I was still doing house chores regularly on my own. I would just crawl around the house or drag myself across the house until I collapsed in exhaustion. I would do that. And now like most of the things are done for me, so that all my energy is spent resting. And I feel really awful about it because I'm used to taking care of myself and having to take care of myself, even under the worst conditions, where I shouldn't be taking care of myself. I should be recovering. But that is what I'm used to. I'm used to working really hard when I'm feeling well, and I'm used to still doing the work I need to do when I'm sick. It's just that my condition has reached a point to where, like, there have been times where I can't do anything. I can't even take my bottle of water and drink out of it. Like, I'm just that weak. So, for those of you who read my status that I was losing weight, I'm gaining it back rather quickly. So there's that. I'm walking around the last 2 days. I can stand. So no more of that being fed and having to be carried. That was going on for a week. It seemed like a lot longer. And I'm just going to have to recover from it. My brain is doing weird things like making me hypothermic and then hyperthermic, and I'll go hypoglycemic really fast, and just blood sugar crash, and I'll have arrhythmias like out of the blue, and just my whole body is just really fighting to stay alive and reach some type of equilibrium, because these attacks that happen do so much damage to my system and cause so much inflammation that it could kill me. So, like, yeah, I just wanted to update, and, nobody knew that this was happening. Like, one person, there was one or two people that kind of, like, perceived that something was going on, but they didn't know how bad. So, yeah, I'm crawling out of a really, really bad spell. But yeah, like, I'm a fighter. I'm still fighting. I did not want to keep going on the last one. It was so bad. I can't even remember. Like, I don't think I could do it again, like, just right after. Like, I say I want a recording, but I actually don't want a recording because, like, that means I have to go through that again, and I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if I can personally endure it, and I don't actually know if my body can handle it. My body's really, really taking some hard hits with this seizure and inflammation stuff. It's becoming to where even I, with my pain threshold, can't endure it. And so I'm trying to think of, like, strong consideration on maybe trying to see a pain specialist who understands this condition. The only problem is that every time I'm put on some kind of new drug, I react really badly and have a seizure. Like, and then it's just, that's what caused my adrenals to almost fail last time. They experimented on me. I had a massive seizure, and I was, like, never the same after that. My sleep got all weird, and it has stayed weird since that seizure that the drug caused. So now I just have them. So, like, yay, like, modern medicine. So, anyway, that's what I have to say. Like, if you're not asleep by now, thanks for watching. Thanks for caring. And, I'm going to keep going as long as I can. And I know that there's a lot of people who care about me, so, you guys keep me fighting. So I have to remember that, because, during those times where I'm suffering so much and I'm in this room and I hardly ever leave this room, this, like, bed here in this room is pretty much my world. It is rare I get to go outside. I don't often get to breathe fresh air, except like if we open the window or something. And I'm just trying to get stronger and stronger. And I'm trying to get strong enough so I can leave here to go to another apartment in a different state, I suppose. Back home, though I don't really have a home. So I don't really have a family per se. I mean, I do have some family members that I'm still in contact with, but I don't really... I've lost a lot. I have lost a whole lot. But we won't talk about that today. If we talk about that, I'll be talking for hours. Anyway, I just thought it was really interesting, the whole attractiveness equals sympathy, and how could people leave me to die when I'm perceived to be desirable, and or other, if you don't think I'm particularly attractive, like this does happen to people that you probably would find attractive. Like I've seen it happen to all kinds of like people, and most of them not unattractive people. So yeah, I mean, you could bring up the debate that this has more to do with me and them being female, and that has nothing to do with attractiveness, but I really do think there's a correlation there. So I don't think it was untactful to ask that question. And I feel really stupid right now because I've been talking for a long time and probably in circles. So forgive me, my brain is still foggy. Anyway, I'm gonna rest, since this has taken like a little bit out of me to do. And yeah, I hope you all are well out there, and thanks for watching.